and welcome to the Winner's Journey podcast, where you hear the story behind the successful entrepreneur, leader, or figures that are inspiring us. And today, I am so honored because the person that I'm going to introduce you today is being such an incredible inspiration in my life journey, in my career. Actually, she was the inspiration behind the Winner's Journey podcast. Sharifah Hardie is a business consultant and author, a talk show host, a producer at Bizzy Girl Productions, candidate for 2024 California State Senate District 33, president of the Black Chamber of Commerce, Long Beach area, and an influencer. She is the host of Sharifah Videocast and podcast. She's also the host of the Roundtable talk show, the Face to Face talk show. I'm not done yet. She's also the author of Signs You Might Be an Entrepreneur, How to Discover the Entrepreneur in You, and the ebook, Everything You Need to Know About Social Media Marketing. Sharifah, what an honor to have you in the Winner's Journey podcast.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I'm so impressed by you. I mean, you talk about everything that I've done, but I have never seen someone who is more hardworking than you. And what amazes me is how many different umbrellas and arms you have of your business. So immediately, I was just like, oh, this lady is amazing. I have to learn more about her.
Oh wow. So here's the same, so same feeling from here. You are such an incredible support for so many of us out there. And that really inspired me about you because it's giving that it looks like that's your it seems to be that's your mission in life. You were born to just give and giving you like giving that support. I mean, since we crossed paths, there have been so many new things going on in my life thanks to, being inspired by your shows. And this is one of them, The Winner's Journey, because you made that happen. You have an incredible team that is supporting us as well in making it a reality. So tell me what ignited that in you? What got you to, were you born with this? Were you like a child helping others all the time? Talk to us about your journey. What was it that made you who you are? Such an incredible person also.
Oh, wow. Thank you. No, I was definitely not like this from birth. I mean, I always loved people and helping people, but I never thought I would be doing this. What started me out on my journey is I simply wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. That was my focus. I wanted to be at home with my kids. And so I started building so many different websites and different businesses, different MLMs that I tried. I've sold everything from Avon to um, doTERRA essential oils. But I knew even then that the only way for me to be at home and to earn some type of income was the internet. So I built my first website in 1994. And as people saw me start to build my website and then market my website, people would ask me questions. So I launched my first radio show in 2009 called Ask Sharifah Radio, where business owners and entrepreneurs would come on the show, ask questions, and also share their stories. And so from 2009 until now, I've had about 5 or 6 different variations of Ask Sharifah Videocast. And also during that process, over the years, I was laid off 8 times. So I always felt like I was going to be an employee. I always wanted to be an employee. I always tell people, nothing says I love you like direct deposit. I love having that security. I love knowing that money is going to be in the bank and then to get laid off. But I learned a lot, wound up becoming an entrepreneur. And because of the lessons I learned, I always turn around and reach back and say, well, how can I help you? How can I help you? How can I help other people learn from the mistakes and the challenges that I made?
Yeah. And you know that as a single mother that I have been as well, it is very challenging to jumping from, being an employee to an entrepreneur because you have that fear. I had the fear. I had the fear of what if, but then we go through certain situations where you just lose that fear. It's like well, I lost the job, I'm still here. Why
Yes,
can't do my own thing, right?
yes.
And I know there's a lot of single mothers out there probably listening to us today. What would you tell them if they're in that process? What would be the word for them?
What I would say to the single mothers is your children, your kids really do watch you more than you think you do. And so often as single moms, we think, oh my God, my kids are going to feel bad if instead of sitting there talking to them, I'm at my computer or I'm at working or I'm at a meeting or I'm networking. But actually it's the exact opposite. Our kids watch us, and it gives us them the confidence to be able to start their own business and their own entrepreneurial journey when they see mom become successful, when they see the hard work that they put into it. So no, they're not going to resent you. They're going to applaud you, and they're going to take the next steps as well to become successful business owners by watching you. And I know it's hard for us as parents to step away and to let go, but believe me, if you can do it, then they can do it.
And you have such an incredible following in daily show, Sharifa. This is like determination and discipline. How do you make this happen? Because you have more than one, and then you have this, as Sharifa is every day, right?
The Roundtable talk show is every day, and that is one of my favorite shows. Is unique. I do 5 shows a week, 5 guests per day. But one of the things that's so unique about it and people love about it is that there's absolutely no topic. We bring together entrepreneurs and small business owners in an organic, natural roundtable discussion, and the conversation can go so many different places. And I've done over 200 episodes of the show. And when I first launched it, I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, you can't just take 5 complete strangers from different backgrounds and just throw them in a conversation. But what I've learned, and I'm so happy to have learned this, is that we have more in common than we have that's, different. And so I've seen people, I remember one show in particular where I had a couple of guests, and then I had one lady who was suffering from mental illness, and she was sharing her journey. And then I had another lady who I felt was real corporate. She was a C-suite executive. When we were doing the pre-show conversation, she never smiled. She never gave me any energy. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if these two people are going to clash or they're going to work well together, because some people can't deal with mental illness, especially the ups and downs in a conversation. So the young lady with mental illness was sharing her story, and then all of a sudden the corporate lady was like, my cousin suffers from mental illness and it affects us, and I understand, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be all right. This is really going to work, because you never know who's going through the same situation. And usually what happens when you watch a show or a panel with 5 people, they're all the same type of person. Maybe they're all artists. Maybe they're all bookkeepers. It doesn't matter, but they're usually the same industry. These people could be, one person could be a psychic and the next person could be a doctor, but somehow, some way, I've seen it in over 200 episodes where everyone just gets along, talks, has a conversation. People have made friends, people have made sales, and it's just amazing. I'm just honored and blessed to even be able to host this show.
Wow, and there's so many incredible people out there. I'm feeling the same with this podcast. It's just such amazing, amazing stories. Has there been, this is a tough question. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
I'm fine.
there's always that story that there's always those guests or that just touch everybody's heart. Somehow their story just makes such a big impact. Has been anyone off the top of your head that you can remember?
I can remember one. There's so many of them. Let me just say that there are so many of them, but one that stands out, a show that I was particularly proud of, and a guest I was particularly proud of, it was a young man. I mean, he couldn't be more than 20 or something like that, and he had just launched this business called Baba Bags. BABA, Baba Bags. And they were bags, recyclable, reusable bags, and you can wash them and use them over again. And people can, put their groceries in and that sort of thing. But because of the pandemic, there were so many people who didn't want reusable items. They're so afraid that they may catch some type of disease on it. And his biggest fear was that he was going to have to get a day job. And so everyone on the show was like, well, if you do this and then you partner with this, and if you, and it's like by the time he finished, he had that hope that he could actually operate a successful business and he can grow a business. And I hear different stories, you know, domestic violence and, you know, homelessness, so many different stories. But the ones that actually touch me are the business owners or the entrepreneurs who say, you know what, I want to make this work. And to see other people come together and say, you know what, we want you to be a success as well. Let us come together and see what we can do to help you. And that just always moves me, because as entrepreneurs, one of the feelings that I believe in, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, Viviana, because I respect your opinion, is that no matter how many people are in a crowd, how many sales we make, how many followers we have, we still feel alone because we're trying to figure it out all by ourselves. And so to have a group of people who is trying to figure it out for you and with you, I just think that's amazing.
It is. I think it's fantastic. I have actually connected with some people when I have gone to your talk show. So I really love it. It's like an opportunity to network. And one of the, I think it's one of the positive things that I'm seeing now that we are all isolated, is that we had that need to connect, and there was
Yes,
no other way of doing it, and we had to turn to the internet. And I tell you, I have made really good friends through the internet.
yes.
I mean,
I
I've
like the,
other entrepreneurs that, you know, are on the same boat and feeling lonely or feeling like, what am I gonna do tomorrow? And it's great to have that support, right?
yes, but for me, that's the energy of the Roundtable Talk Show. Because I always think we all go to, or at least prior to the pandemic, we go to networking events. But when you go to a networking event, it may be a specific group. But prior to the meeting starting, so say the networking event is at 1 o'clock, you arrive at 12:30 or 12:40, and there are people hanging out. What do? You always walk up to them and go, hi, I'm Sharifah. I do online marketing. And you just kind of start talking about who you are and what you do. So the Roundtable Talk Show is that pre-meeting conversation where everybody just kind of introduces themselves. So I'm just passionate about learning about people, their story, their journey. And it's just been an amazing show.
Yeah, it's been great for artists as well. Like, we had some artists in there, and I think it's been great hearing their conversations as well. I always thought, okay, I'd love to know how this is gonna go, because I've never had them together discussing one another, and that was incredible as well. So yeah,
Yes. You
absolutely.
have some wonderful artists. I love your artists, the ones that you had on show. The thing that I like about your network and your group is typically when you think of artists, it may just be, oh, someone who makes a painting. But each of your artists does something unique and different and special. And I was like, wow, some of the art that you have, I never even heard of before.
Yeah, that's a good thing about the artists that, you know, they develop their own techniques. There's so much talent. I mean, it's incredible. Like you know. So what? There's an incredible journey ahead of you, and I want to talk about that also because you have the 2024. Talk to us about it.
Yes, the Senate race 2024. That is just really my commitment to people. People, when I first got into politics, when I ran for Long Beach City Council, so many people were surprised and like, Sharifah, politics. Like now you're doing politics, but I always said, and I continue to say, it's not politics, it's people. And I think as politicians, that's what sometimes people forget, is that you're dealing with people, you're dealing with individuals, their lives, their families, their homes. And that's what I like to keep in mind. So after the city council race, I launched the Roundtable Talk Show, but I felt in my spirit, I have to do something. I have to take some type of action. And at first I said, you know what, let's run for governor. And then I said, wait a minute, let's take some baby steps. Let's calm down a little bit. So I said, but I have to make a change. I have to be that difference that I see in the world. And I, for me, that was Senate, because I want to go out. There are so many people struggling. There are so many people who need help. The homelessness, the losing jobs, it's the working poor. All of that is very important to me. And so I just want to make a difference in the world. And that's the Senate election in 2024.
And I think it's just like the logical step for you, Sharifa, because you're this is you. This is who you are.
Yes.
Totally, I cannot think of anyone, so giving and supporting, and not because, I know you, this is something that I thought from the first time that I interacted with you. It's like, okay, she's there to support people. So this is
Yes.
incredible. What a blessing. And I'll be praying for that.
Thank you. Thank you. I need all the prayers, all the help, all the
Yeah.
support I can get. So if you know anyone in Long Beach, California, vote Sharifah Hardie.
Yeah, and that's all we need. This is the type of people we need in power, that are there for the people. This is what
Yes.
we need. We gotta become really smart when it comes to voting, right?
Yes.
I think we have to be more careful about who we're choosing. Are they going to really support us? Are they there to support the people, or what is the motivation behind it? And it's so difficult, probably, for especially if you don't know much about it. If you so it's important to take the time to get to know who's behind that vote, and let's vote for the right person. So I vote Sharifa.
Thank you. I need all the votes I can
I'm in
get.
New York, but what can I say?
You know somebody out here that's a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend who lives in Long Beach, California.
Totally, totally. So, what's the plan for this year? I mean, you're doing so much. I cannot even imagine. How do you plan your year for 2021? What's in it?
Oh, yeah, I already know. I already know because a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting asking myself that same question, Sharifah, what are you going to do? How are you going to make this happen? How are you going to wind up in Senate? And it actually came to me, and it's a story or it's part of my journey that was very dear to my heart. When I first launched my business in roughly 2008, 2009, there was I asked my mom, I said, Mom, what do I do? How do I get the word out there? She was like, well, you got to network, you got to meet people, join the chamber, join the Black Chamber of Commerce. And so I did. I joined the Black Chamber of Commerce back then, and I had a wonderful time. And I was actually awarded the 2010 Business Consultant of the Year award. Now, because of scheduling, I wasn't able to attend the award ceremony. So in 2017, I was in the process of doing an IPO. We took a company public, raised about $6 million, and we were receiving a lot of phone calls. All of a sudden, I received this phone call, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know this voice. I know it. And finally, I said, Miss Sadie, is that you? And she said, who was this? I said, this is Sharifah Hardie. I was a part of the Black Chamber of Commerce. And she was like, oh, Sharifah. She was like, yes. She said, do you know that I still have your award in my garage? And I was like, oh my God, wow. So we met for lunch. And 1 month after that meeting, when she gave me our award, Miss Sadie passed away from cancer. And
Oh,
so the Black Chamber of Commerce just became defunct. And so a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I saw so many Black businesses struggling, especially in the pandemic, PPP loans. Only about 3 to 5% of that funding went to Black owned businesses. And I said, Sharifah, you have to do something. And so I reached out to the main chamber, and I said, I want to start this chapter here. And so I became the president of the Long Beach area Black Chamber of Commerce. And so I'm going out, and from this year all the way until at least 2023, until I really start campaigning, I'm going to go and I'm going to sit down with these businesses because funding is available. And some of them did not receive the funding because they didn't qualify, but we can help them qualify. So once they qualify, then they can receive the funding. Some maybe they didn't know how to do their paperwork, or their paperwork wasn't in order, or maybe it was with the employees. But so many people can still qualify that never knew that they could. So from now until I actually start campaigning for 2024, my focus is on helping small businesses, not just Black businesses. I help all businesses, but helping small businesses get over this pandemic.
Sharifa, and speaking of that, this is an incredible work that you're doing, because that I hear that a lot. A lot of small businesses have not received any help throughout this process. What are the setbacks? What is the problem there? What's happening? What is this imbalance happening?
Well, excellent question. That's why I like you. You're actually a thinker. You know what I mean? You ask the hard questions. And this is what most people don't realize is that too often when small business owners start their business, they may just go, for lack of a better word, hang out their shingles, which means they'll go to people and say, my business is open, I sell shoes, I sell this, I sell cars, you know, I'm a restaurant. But many of them do not go in through the proper channels to get their business license, to get their EIN number. And so they've been operating. I saw a business owner who literally has been operating for 30 years, ran a business, had the business, had doors open, but never actually technically made it into a business. And so it's just like, what they don't realize is that funding sources really looks at that more like a hobby than an actual business. So when you go to ask for assistance, they're not going to give you the assistance because you're not a business. And so putting the actual things in place to qualify is what I think small business owners need to do. And also take that into account, that you have to have licenses, you have to have your EIN number, you have to pay your taxes, you have to do these things in order to be looked at as a legitimate business.
And it's important because we never know when we're gonna need to have
Yeah.
all this in place. So better off doing it from the beginning or
Yeah.
whatever we are at the moment, and
Yes,
ensuring
absolutely.
that the books are in order, you know.
Yes.
It as an entrepreneur, I know it can be overwhelming, and you probably leave that at that's like the last thing you want to worry about, because you need to sell, you need to make sure the money's coming in and the employees are getting paid and everything else. But that's really important as well.
Yes. Or
Yeah.
some businesses who you look at and from the outside, you may think that that business has 20 employees. But what you find later, and this is not a knock against anyone, but those employees may have been paid in cash. So that though that doesn't actually exist anywhere on paper. So when you go to ask for funding and they ask how many employees you have, and your response is, "Oh, I have 20 employees." Okay, well, where is your payroll? You know, where what have you? So is putting everything in order and doing the paperwork so that you can show that you're an actual business.
That's good to know. Totally good to know. And anyone that is in your area, then they can just turn to you, right? Because you can help them.
It doesn't have to be my area, Viviana. I help people all over the world. I'm not focused on just Long Beach. I mean, that's for the Senate to vote. You have to be in District 33, yes. But for me to assist and work with you, you can be anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter. The only thing that's important to me is that you sincerely want to operate a business, that you want to succeed. And that's what I help people do. I'm not focused on taking on a lot of clients. I've never had a lot of clients. I don't just do online marketing or finances. I work with the complete business. So I as a business consultant, I can consult on different areas from your social media marketing to your website so that we can build a business that actually works. And you don't have to be local to do that. You can be anywhere. I just love to help and be of service.
And where can they go? So if they want to reach out, go to your website.
Yes, at Sharifah.com.
All righty. Well, I want to thank you. We've come to the end of the interview. Wow, this the time flies. I don't know. When you're having a great conversation, it just goes like that, right?
Yes, I've enjoyed it. I'm honored to be here.
Well, thank you, Sharifa, and I hope you come back.
Of
You
course.
know, you're like VIP on this podcast. You know that.
Yes, anytime you invite me, I'll be back.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching, for listening. And if you need help, take the step and go to asksharifa.com. Sometimes we're stubborn and we postpone things. And I have the 5 second rule that I share with you, and practice it. Don't give it more than 5 seconds. Just do it. You think about it, you need it, let's do it. Do it right away, because if you postpone it, you'll forget it and it never gets done, or you just forget the idea. So don't forget that. Take action. Go to asksharifa.com if you are a business and you need help. She's offering the help. Take it. And don't forget, stay inspired.